Hi, and congratulations on completing week 6, teaching prophecy. And this week we continued to be in Habakkuk. Next week we'll actually move over to Daniel and look at apocalyptic. But we were finishing up looking at Habakkuk and trying to understand the relationship when we find a redemptive theme. How far can we take it in looking at Jesus? Can we leapfrog right over, or do we need to take some steps first? Before I get into that, and by the way, the assignments were on whole very good this week. I was able to find the theological outline video and got that posted, so you had a little more input. But your first assignment, assignment 6.1, was to create a descriptive, a theological, and a homiletical outline. I wanted to see multiple depth points within that. I wanted to see a nice beefy paragraph at the end that added some explanation on how you came up with your points and interacted either with some outside research or with your course reading or both. And then finally, I wanted to see a strong conclusion to talk about what you learned and add some personal reflection. On whole, these were very good. If somebody either didn't have the conclusion or didn't have strong enough paragraphs and research or didn't have strong enough outlines, then I took deductions. Otherwise, folks scored quite well. In assignment 6.2, which is Christian redemption in Habakkuk, you were to write a 3-page paper to summarize the redemptive message in Habakkuk 1, verse 12 through book 2, verse 1, for Christians today. And to do that, you needed to give 3 different points for local ministry and 3 corresponding actions for yourself, in addition to a full discussion of Habakkuk and our reading. These papers, again, were good. I was looking for outside research. I was looking for engagement with our reading. I was looking for your own thoughts, especially a strong conclusion, pulling the assignment together on how you might teach the passage. Oops. And then moving on to our discussion, Chapel talked about this leapfrogging idea and where we can really go with redemption. Some of the posts were just outstanding. Some of the conversations were really very, very good as well. I was wanting to see how you interacted with Chapel, what positions you took, and then some discussion on how far we can go to bring Christ into a redemptive sermon or message when he is not specifically mentioned. And my position on this is fairly similar to what you had in the reading. I feel that our first job is always to look at context. What did the initial author intend for the initial hearer to take away from this message? And to me, that's where we need to spend the strongest amount of our time. If we find a redemptive message, then clearly redemption is something that starts in Genesis and moves all the way to its ultimate fulfillment in Revelation. Christ is a center theme of that, but we need to make sure that the passage is not pointing us to Christ. The passage is pointing us to a redemptive theme. That redemptive theme can then be applied in multiple ways, one of which is Christ. So that's kind of what I was looking for. I think the vast majority of the class agrees that that's how we need to work our exegesis and our homiletics in order to create a sermon on a redemptive passage. So with that, good grades. We're 2/3 or 3/4 of our way through the course. Be sure to stay focused as we finish our last 2 weeks, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with in week 7.